Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to revise the midterm 1 grade 11 English test. So, what you need to know to revise is first in the vocabulary, we saw lesson 1A collocations with win, earn, and gain. We also saw 19 words or expressions related to jobs. That was part 1. In lesson 2, which is vocabulary 1B, we saw 8 expressions related to jobs, which is part 2, and also 6 sets of confusing words related to jobs. Now, in the unit 2, we saw 6 sets of confusing words related to hobbies and forming opposites using suffixes in, an, and none. And all of that will be out of 3 marks in vocabulary exam. For grammar, we saw the first lesson 1A, the simple present and the present progressive. In lesson 2, which is 1B, we saw the stative verbs and how to use them and when to use them. In the next lesson in Unit 2, so lesson 2A, we saw the present perfect. And in the final lesson, lesson 2B, we saw comparisons. Or let's say 5 types of comparisons. And also, all the grammar questions in the exam will be out of 3 marks. Now, for the reading, you will always have one question of multiple choice about the purpose of the text or the main idea of the text, and it will be out of 1 mark. Then another multiple choice question which will be about the meaning of the underlined word from the text. It will also be out of 1 mark. Another multiple choice question about true or false or not mentioned, and you will have 2 sentences, so 1 mark each, so both will be out of 2 marks. And then you have 2 questions of CR, and you will have to find details from the text, so 2 marks and 2 marks. So all of the reading questions will be out of 8 marks. So that's the most important part in the whole exam of English. Now, moving on to writing. In writing, you will have 2 topics, and you will choose just one of them. In lesson 1B, we saw how to write an article about your opinion and mainly about your dream job. Also, you will have a chance to choose an announcement in the second part. And the writing will be out of 6 marks. Now, let's get started with vocabulary. So in the lesson of collocations with win, earn, and gain, we saw some words that can collocate with these 3 verbs. So try to remember which group of words go with win, which group of words go with earn, and which group of words go with gain. Okay, so we can see that we can say win a race, win a match, or win a game, because all of them are related to competitions. Now, what about earn? Good, so we say earn money, earn a salary, and earn living. So all of them are related to money. Now, what's remaining? All the rest of the words will go with gain. So we can say, for example, gain weight, gain speed, gain access, and gain experience. Now, moving on to the 19 words or expressions related to jobs. We saw words like employees and staff, which mean people who work for a company. We also saw the words salary and wages, which is about the money received for work done. We saw salary, it's for a month. Wages, it's for a day or a week. Now we saw two expressions meaning having no job, which are unemployed and out of work. The next word or expression is to employ. So to employ means to give work to someone. Next, we have receiving money from the state, and that's the word or the expression on benefits, to be on benefits. Next, to lose one's job is to get fired. So you can say the company fired him because of certain reasons. The next expression is to make ends meet, which means to have enough money to live. Then the expression hold in a meeting, meaning arranging and participating in a group discussion. After that, an intern. Okay, focus very carefully here because some students still don't know the difference between intern and a trainee, which we are going to see later. So an intern is mainly an advanced student or an advanced university graduate receiving practical training. So here we insist on the word student or university graduate. We saw also the expression of job cuts, which mean reduction in the number of workers. And the trainee, okay, here be careful, intern is not trainee, trainee is not intern. So trainee means somebody at a low level in a company. So he is already in the company and he is learning the skills, not to get experience. He's learning the skills needed for a job. So a trainee is a worker, the intern is a student to get experience, a trainee to get more skills to learn. All right. Now you can also have a look at some other words related to jobs, which are CV, which is a piece of paper in which you have to mention all the personal details related to your personal achievements, your personal backgrounds, etc., for the company to know you better. The verb contact, which means to call someone or to get in touch with someone. Flexible, we usually say this employee is flexible. It means he can have no problem in changing when the situation changes. Or we can say flexible working hours. Creative, someone who is creative, he has new ideas every time. A team player, someone who likes to collaborate with his friends. Enthusiastic, someone who is happy to work, eager to work, interested to work. And good communication skills. These are skills that anyone who works in a company need to have to communicate with his colleagues. And to be confident, which means you can rely on yourself without any trouble. So you will get the paragraph like this. It's a dialogue between student A and B, and we saw in the classroom. You can go back to the student book and see it more. All right. Now, moving on to the second lesson in vocabulary, which is about 8 expressions related to jobs. So the first expression we said is to have a head for business or to have a head for figures, which means to be able to deal with numbers or business, to be smart in mathematics or counting, etc. The next expression is I want to be my own boss. It means I don't want to be under the supervision of anyone. I want to have my own business. Okay. The next word or expression is line of work. When I say what line of work are you in, you can say education if you are a teacher, you can say health if you are a doctor. So these are types of line of work. Now, the word entrepreneurs are people who are businessmen who have money to set up businesses. After that, we saw to be your own boss, or we can say I am self-employed. It means I don't have my own boss. To take off, it's a verb we use for a business that's becoming very successful. Then set up a business, which means to start a business. And finally, the private enterprises, which means private companies. They are not part of the country or the state. Now, moving on to the 6 sets of confusing words related to jobs. We are still in Unit 1, but Lesson 2. The first set of confusing words were a company, business, and corporation. All of them mainly are about companies, but it's about the size of the company. So when I say small, normally it goes with company or business. When I say it has offices in 52 countries or in many countries, normally we say corporation, but we can also use business or company. But corporation is the best answer. After that, when you have the verb do, I use the word business. I do business. We don't say I do company or I do corporation. Okay, the next set of confusing words is split and divide. So when you have the preposition by, what do we use? Okay, we use divided. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. When I have the preposition in, I use split or divided. Both are correct. The next confusing words, staff and personnel, they maybe have the same meaning, but when you say members, we say members of staff. We don't say members of personnel. But both can go together if you don't have the word members. So I can say all staff will receive a pay rise this year, or all personnel will receive a pay rise this year. All right, the next set of confusing words is sum, amount, and number. You know that the word number goes with countable nouns. So when you have people can be counted. 5 people, 6 people, 10 people, 100 people, etc. So I say number of people. Okay, but sum and amount are not countable. Okay, so amount of work, which is about quantity of work. Sum of money, for the word money we use sum or amount. And if you have things which is countable with the s, so that's a plural, I use the word number. Okay, now quality or skill. I learned. So do we learn a skill or a quality? Of course we learn a skill. So I learned all the skills. Now patience is a quality. It's a good adjective we allocate to someone who has good quality. Okay, so patience is a good quality. And here we have full-time and permanent. Full-time means you work, let's say, 8 hours a day. Permanent means you are not a temporary employee, you are working for a long contract. So look at sentence 14. This position is, but it's only for 21 hours per week. Okay, good. So this position is permanent, it's not temporary. And the last one, this position is full-time, but it's only for 6 months. So he can work 8 hours a day, but only for 6 months. Okay. The next set, we have the verbs criticize, blame, and accuse. In the classroom, we focus on the prepositions. If you have of, So we use accuse. So he accused her of stealing the ring. So the preposition of means we need to use accuse. Okay, the next one we have stop criticizing me. So criticizing is something negative usually. We don't criticize someone we really care about. And here we don't need to use any preposition. For the next one we have the preposition for. So we blame someone for doing something. She blamed her brother for missing the ferry. And here we need the preposition for. If you don't have the preposition for, we can also have it, as you have seen in the exam of end of unit. We had a sentence without for, but blame was the correct answer, you remember. But we use the verb blame when we blame someone we care about. We don't blame someone we don't care about. I hope I made myself clear. Okay, the next group of confusing words is share, divide, and distribute. Do you want a pizza? So what do you think here? Okay, share a pizza, which means you take what I have, we have it together. Then, can you these flyers outside the station? Okay, so distribute, which means you give to everyone. And finally, the school year is into two terms. Yeah, we have already seen divided into or split into. Okay, now the words reward, prize, and medal. Focus on sentence 7 here. We have he won a silver, golden, bronze. So these are medals. Then in sentence 8 there is 1,000 pounds. Good. So that's a reward. We reward someone for doing something good. And when it is a competition, we say prize. He won the first prize in the race. Karim won first prize in the race. Okay, we go to the same words. Competition, game, and race. What's the difference? Okay, we know that in a competition there is a winner and a loser. In the game is not necessarily a winner or a loser, it's just a game. And in the race we need to know who comes first, second, and third. So in sentence 10, do you want to play a computer? Of course, game. And sentence 11, they are holding a competition. Yes, to find the best. So the best means okay, winner. And who came in second place? So second place, first place, third place, these are all in a race. Okay, good. Now, leisure, occupation, and pastime. We know that occupation is not about hobbies, but occupation is about what you do most of your day, especially being a student or having a job. Okay, leisure and pastime, they have almost the same meaning, but leisure, it's about the hobby itself. Pastime is about when you have free time, you can do something you like. So in number 13, his favorite is playing volleyball. Okay, so his favorite pastime, you have studied that in grade 5 or 6. In number 14, he doesn't have much time for leisure. So we mean to entertain himself. And finally, now that he's not working, grandpa's main occupation, excellent. So occupation is main time, how you spend your main time. And finally, we saw the difference between fan and spectator and audience. In sentence 16, that was great at last night's play. Okay, the audience. So the audience are the people who watch a play or watch cinema or watch any cultural event. Now, what about Martin? Martin is an Arsenal fan. He likes Arsenal. And finally, there were 30,000 at the game. So when you talk about sporting event, we usually use the word spectators. Moving on, we saw how to make opposites using in, an, and none. Okay, this is a non-smoking room. Excellent. So smoking, the opposite is none. Fair, the opposite is unfair. Decisive or decisive, the opposite is indecisive. Formal, the opposite is informal. Experienced, the opposite is inexperienced. Refundable, the opposite is non-refundable, which means you cannot get back your money. Stop, the opposite is non-stop. A non-stop rain, which means rain that doesn't stop. And expected, the opposite is unexpected. So you have to remember all these opposites. Okay, now we move on to the second part, which is grammar. In lesson 1, we saw the difference between the simple present and the present progressive. You studied the same lesson in grade 10, and you are studying now in grade 11, and next year you are going to study the same lesson, because that's the basic of English grammar. Now, first of all, you need to know when do we use the present simple. We use the present simple with words like always, often, usually, never, every day, every week, etc. In the morning, in spring, etc. At the weekend, weekends, once, twice, when the action is repeated, 3 times also, 3 times a week, once a day, or on Mondays with the word S, the letter S in the end to show that it's a plural, it's repeated every Monday, or on Monday morning, etc. Now, when do we use the present simple? In the lesson, we saw that there are 5 uses for the present simple. The first use is to describe permanent situations. Permanent means it lasts for a long time, and I know that it will not be temporary. For example, Tina lives with her parents in Sheffield. So lives here means that she lives for a long time. She doesn't have the intention to change her place of living. The second use of the present simple is to describe repeated or habitual actions. You know that every morning, every day, we have to use the present simple. Third use of the present simple is to talk about general truths or scientific fact. The next one, to talk about the future actions related to timetables. And finally, in exclamatory sentences with of, here, there. So the sentence starts with one of these 3 words and you have exclamation in the end. Here she comes. So you are surprised. Okay, moving on to the stative verbs, but before that I think okay, let's have a look at the stative verbs. So we saw that some stative verbs need to be used not only in the present simple but also in the present progressive. So think normally it's in the present simple, but if the meaning becomes consider, it will be used in the present progressive. I am thinking of, so you have preposition of, which means to consider or to plan something. The verb see also can be used in the present progressive. She is seeing her sister tonight, which means not to see someone, but to meet someone or visit someone. Okay, if you change the meaning of the verb have, which is normally possession, if you change it into drink or eat or taste, it will be used in the present progressive. Now, the verb taste, if you change the meaning of taste, it can become to try food. I am just tasting the food. So I am doing the action now. The verb feel, normally feel is present simple, but if you have the meaning of touching, we use it in the present progressive. John is feeling the packet to find out what's inside. So whenever you use a verb of stative verbs in the present progressive, the meaning will change. Okay, the verbs see, hear, smell, taste, and feel. These verbs are commonly used with can to indicate an action happening now. We can say, I can see a strange vehicle moving towards us. So that's present progressive. Now in Unit 2, we saw the uses of the present perfect. We use the present perfect with expressions like just, yet, already, ever, never, before, always, how long, for plus time phrase, since plus time phrase, recently, lately, once, twice, so far, etc. And this is how we use it. We need a subject. Then, if you have he or she or it or a singular word, we put has plus past participle or verb 3. If you have I, you, we, they, or plural, I use have plus past participle or verb 3. Now, we have three main uses for the present perfect simple. The first use is to talk about an action which happened in the past, but the exact time is not mentioned. For example, I have already done that, but I don't know when I did it. The second use is to talk about a state which started in the past and continues up to the present. And this is the most common use for the present perfect. For example, Miriam has had toothache since yesterday, and we know that because of the word since yesterday, we know that it's still aching, so the toothache still exists. The final use of the present perfect is to talk about an action that happened in the past and finished, but the results are obvious in the present. For example, I have just finished my project. So when I hear this sentence, I know that there is an outcome, there is a result. The result is the project. You can see it in front of you. Also, Tim has washed his car. So I can see that it's clean. So I can see it's something that has a result in the present, but started in the past. In order to know the verb 3 of most of the irregular verbs, you can go back to page 93 and you see the green color, the third column, okay, here and here. You can find most of the irregular verbs. Now, the last lesson of grammar was about the comparisons. In comparison, we saw 5 different forms. Okay, in the classroom, we studied them in the student book, and we also in the notebook, we wrote all of them in details. But here, I'm going to let you see some examples, and I wanted to find out the form of each of the 5 different uses. Let's have a look at the examples one by one. Example 1, the more you look into the subject, the more fascinated you are likely to become. So focus on the words in blue and try to find out what is the correct form in the options from A to E. Example 2, in Australia, where events are becoming more and more popular. 3, the palio, however, is safer than the running of the Bulls Festival. Safer than. Number 4, nothing is as exciting as watching athletes display their remarkable sports skills. And finally, Bolt, the fastest sprinter in the world, can run at an impressive 27.44 miles per hour. Now, if you look at the forms from A to E, okay, the comparative form is used to compare two people, animals, things, or situations. The superlative form is used to compare one person, animal, thing, or situation with several of the same kind. The structure comparative form and comparative form is used to indicate continual increase or decrease. Then the structure the plus comparative form plus the plus comparative form is used to describe two actions or situations, one of which comes as a result of the other. And finally, the structure not as plus adjective or adverb plus as is used to show similarity or dissimilarity if you are using a not. Now, the first one goes with example 3. Safer than. That's comparative form with a short adjective. But if you have long adjective, we say more plus adjective plus than. Now the next one, superlative form. Good. So the fastest sprinter in the world. That's a short adjective, fast. We put est. If you had a long adjective, we say the most plus long adjective. Okay, now the next one, it's the second example, more and more popular. And we use it with the verbs becoming or getting. The next one, okay, that was example 1. The more you look, the more fascinated. So that's the structure, the plus comparative plus the plus comparative. Finally, we have the easiest one, which is as plus adjective plus as. If it is negative or not similar, it's not plus as plus adjective plus as. Focus on this one, is very important. Now, moving on to the writing part. And this is so important because writing is out of 6 marks and not anyone can get a full mark in writing. So get ready to start. In writing 1B, we saw how to write an article about your opinion, which is mainly about your dream job. So we need first a title, and the title should be a catchy title. Now you need 4 paragraphs. In paragraph 1, you need to attract the reader with a general statement and a rhetorical question. For example, everybody dreams of having the perfect job, but, or, which job allows you to, and you continue. Or, what comes to mind when you think about the ideal job? You don't need to answer these questions because they are rhetorical questions, but you need to complete and tell the reader what your job is. And that's mostly maximum 3 sentences or 3 lines. That will be enough. Okay, now moving on to the second paragraph. In paragraph 2, you need to mention 2 main things. First, what is the job and what does it involve? So if you are talking about the doctor, you have to mention what does the doctor do. If you are talking about a teacher, what does the teacher do? In 2 or 3 sentences. Then, in the same paragraph, you need to tell the reader what is special about the job that makes it ideal for you. In other words, you can say the job satisfaction factors. Why did you choose this job? If you are talking about a doctor, I think this job suits me because it pays a lot, it gives a good salary, people respect it, a lot of things. It brings many flexible hours, a lot of days off. You can travel if you are talking about being a pilot, etc. Now moving on to paragraph 3, which is very important, maybe the most important part. And here it's about qualifications, qualities, and skills. You need to know what qualifications are needed for this job. When I say qualifications, I mean the degrees or diplomas or certificates you need to have and the experience you need or trainings. For example, a pilot needs maybe 1,000 hours of flying and some certificates. The doctor also needs a PhD degree and some training. The teacher also needs some degree, a university degree, and some training and practice and good language skills or communication skills here. Okay, what personal qualities? Qualities mean the positive adjectives like patient, hardworking, perseverance, a lot of positive adjectives to describe your job. The skills, language skills, communication skills, computer skills. Okay, and these things will make it suitable for you. Now, in the last paragraph, you need to show the reader how do you plan to make your ideal job a reality. You can start by saying, for example, my next step is to. You can say, my next step is to study harder and try to make my dream come true and achieve my goal. I can show you an example of one student. So my dream job, we know that you are going to talk about your dream job and to write about it. In paragraph 1, for example, do you want to help students understand lessons? That's a rhetorical question. That's why I dream to be a teacher. So here he mentioned the job itself. In paragraph 2, teachers plan and revise lessons. They do exams and check them. So this is what the teacher does. Also, people respect them because they do a noble job. So that's why he is satisfied about this job. In paragraph 3, to be a teacher. Now I know that the writer is going to tell me about the qualities, qualifications, and skills. So to be a teacher, I need to get a degree. I also need some training. This job suits me because I think I am patient and hardworking. In the final paragraph, my next step is to study hard and make my dream come true. You can elaborate more on this writing. Good. Now moving on to the last part of today's revision. So the second part of writing is an announcement. You can choose to write about an announcement. An announcement can have the shape of one of these 4 different formats. It can be formal, it can be semi-formal, it can be informal. So all of them are accepted. You can insert or you can draw a picture. You can write in different sizes, different styles. You can use colors. So get ready to use them, why not? So the first one, second one, third one, and the fourth one. You can choose whatever is easier for you. But what you need in all cases is a title, a catchy title for your announcement. For example, if you are writing about an announcement related to a club in your school or an announcement about an event happening in your school, you need a title. Okay, then start with writing a question to attract the audience or some sentences in the introduction. Then mention the events included in your announcement. Then the time of the event or the announcement and the place of your event when it will be held. Then you need a catchphrase or what we call a motto. And finally, contact details, for example, phone number or an email address. Okay. Now I think we covered most of what we have seen in Unit 1 and 2 in grade 11 of English subject. Okay, but if you still have some questions, you can contact your teachers or you can check your revision worksheets which are already uploaded on Qatar Education platform. Don't forget to revise very well, and thank you for watching. I hope you all get the best marks you deserve. Bye bye.